This video provides general information to give viewers a better understanding of the possibility of obtaining a long-term visa for moving to and living in Italy, and to provide information and resources on how and where to start the process. It is not definitive advice. Everyone's situation is different. Viewers should not base their decisions or actions or processes solely on this video and should explore all of the resources available, beginning with the website of the Italian Consulate that serves their area. Anyone from the United States and from many other countries can go to Italy and stay for up to 90 days in any 180-day period without a visa. If you want to move to Italy, whether to retire, as a student, for work, as a family member of a resident or other, you need to first obtain a long-term visa from the Italian Consulate office in the country where you live. Please know that this video does not apply to EU citizens. All citizens of the European Union member states, plus Norway, Iceland, Liechtenstein, and Switzerland, have the right to live, work, and travel freely in Italy. If they want to stay longer than 90 days, they need to register with the Italian authorities. If you have Italian parents or grandparents, you can obtain Italian citizenship through lineage. This citizenship allows you to live and work freely throughout the EU. We do not discuss obtaining Italian citizenship in this video, as it is a completely different process from getting a long-term visa, and one in which we do suggest to hire a lawyer. Many people have thought of moving to and establishing a life in Italy, but never acted upon it, thinking it would be too difficult or expensive. While making the dream of La Dolce Vita into a reality is more than a bit of paperwork, it is something that anyone can do in time, completely on your own, with a lot of patience, effort, and planning, if you meet the requirements of the Italian Consulate. People often ask if they need to hire a lawyer to get a long-term visa for Italy, and the answer is no, because a lawyer cannot get you a long-term visa. A lawyer can help assemble your paperwork and give advice on how to fill out the application, but there are no special arrangements, no secret passwords, no palm press payments that can slip you in the back door of the Italian Consulate. You either meet the requirements of the Italian Consulate or you don't. The requirements to obtaining a long-term visa for Italy are cut and dry, black and white. They are listed on the website of the Italian Consulate that serves your country, state, or area. Regardless of any videos or internet research or advice or blogs or forums that you have encountered, the only way to know if you can qualify for a long-term visa and which long-term visa fits your situation, the only information that is absolute is the information from the Italian Consulate that serves your area. Anything else you read or hear from other sources may or may not be true or complete or apt for your situation. So start at the source, after you watch this video, of course. Your first step in obtaining a long-form visa is to go to the website of the Italian Consulate in your country that serves your country, state, or area. You must start the country in which you live. You do not start this process in Italy. To find the consulate that serves your area in the United States, go to the general Italian Consulate website. We provide the link in the description. If you live outside of the U.S., just search for the Italian Consulate in your country. There are currently 10 Italian Consulate main offices in the U.S. Search for or scroll through the list to find the state or city where you live. Please know, you must go through the consulate office that serves the area where you live. Some states have several offices, some states have no offices. If you live far from the main office that serves your area, at the bottom of the page is a link to a list of satellite offices. You may be able to start the process at a satellite office closer to where you live. The satellite office does not approve your application, but there an agent will check your application and documentation. If it is complete, the satellite office agent will stamp it, and you can then mail your application and documentation to the main office. More on submitting your application to follow. Let's go to the Boston office website. Click on Visas, and you will see the different types of long-term visas offered at that office. Please know, every office is different, every office website is different, so navigating, choices, and terminology may be different on the website of the office that serves your area. At the Boston office, you can apply for student, military dependent, civilian employee, religious, work, and elective residency visas. Regarding the Schengen visas are not long-term visas. They are visas for stays up to only 90 days. Citizens of the U.S. and many other countries do not need a Schengen visa to travel to Italy or to the EU for up to 90 days. Schengen visas are only required for citizens of certain countries. Basic requirements for long-term visas. Following are the basic requirements for the most common types of long-term visas. As with all long-term visas, the exact requirements are listed on the website of the Italian Consulate that serves your area. Please know, with the exception of the elective residence and family visas, most long-term visas are limited to the time you are enrolled, contracted, or employed. If you have obtained one of these limited time visas and you then want to stay and live in Italy, that is another process. If you are not a family member of an Italian citizen and you want to move to Italy to live and stay there, to establish Italy as your primary residence, you need an elective residence visa. If you are only interested in the elective residence visa, you can skip to that section, go to minute 10:06. I want to start right off with the Italian work visa, as this is the visa most misunderstood. Work visas are not for people who want to move to Italy and find work or start a small business or sell their foods or crafts at markets, etc. They are not for people who can work from home or for digital nomads. I repeat, the work visa is not for digital nomads. Italy does not have a digital nomad visa. In 2022, Italy announced that it is considering establishing a digital nomad visa, but nothing has been enacted yet as of the date of this video. The digital nomad visa is not on the agenda for 2023, and it will probably not even be addressed for several years. And the government has said that digital nomad visas will only be for 1 or 2 years. Work visas, basic requirements. As always, see the Italian Consulate website that serves your area for the full list. There are 3 types of work visas currently available for Italy. One is the subordinate work visa. Subordinate work is when you work for somebody, when you have an employer. You can only get this type of visa if you already have a job contract in Italy with an Italian or multinational company. This visa is like a green card in the US, where the employer does most of the paperwork and acquires your visa for you. You must have a contract for the job and the company paperwork completed before applying for the visa. Requirements for a work visa include, but are not limited to, a copy of a signed employment contract between you and the employer, a work permit, also called a nulla osta, provided by the employer, independent, aka self-employment, aka freelancer work visa. Foreign citizens can also apply for a self-employment visa in order to start a company in Italy, work as a qualified self-employed professional or freelancer, for instance, an accountant or translator, work as a professional artisan, artist, or athlete. But don't get too excited because these are the most difficult visas to obtain. Many consulates have very restrictive policies for issuing the self-employment visas. Even for those who meet the strict standards, successful applications are very rare. In 2020, Italy reportedly issued only 500 self-employment visas for the entire world. Working holiday visa. Italy has a working holiday visa available to people aged 18 to 30 from certain countries under a working holiday program, which allows them to live and work in Italy for up to a year. Currently, Italy has the working holiday visa agreement with the following countries, and the requirements vary for each: Australia, Canada, New Zealand, and South Korea. For the student, military dependent, civilian employee, family, religious, and investor visas, I won't read the requirements, but will show them on the screen. As always, check your Italian consulate for the full and exact information. The next section deals with the Elective Residence Visa. If you are not interested in this visa, skip to minute 1810. The Elective Residence Visa. For most people who want to move to Italy, who dream of la dolce vita, who want to live in Italy for an unlimited period of time, they will need to obtain an Elective Residence Visa. The ERV is not for someone who just wants to spend longer than 90 days in Italy. It is designed for those who want to establish their primary residence in and become a resident of Italy, who have secured a place to live with either a rental contract or purchase of a home, and who have the autonomous financial means to support themselves without working or having to work. It is often referred to as a retirement visa. If you buy or rent a house in Italy, this does not make you a resident of Italy. A resident of Italy is someone who has an address in Italy, either rented or owned, who lives in Italy for more than 50% of the year, who has obtained a long-term visa from the Italian Consulate and obtained a permesso di soggiorno, permission to stay, from the Italian government in Italy. For the ERV, all of the consulates require the following. Please know this is not an all-inclusive list, as all consulate offices have different requirements. A valid passport or alien registration card, proof of U.S. residence, 2 passport-sized photos. In fact, make 20, as you will need them for many, many things. And the 2 biggies, proof of independent, substantial, and steady private autonomous financial means from existing and ongoing financial assets, from sources such as Social Security, pensions, dividends, rental property, trust funds, but not from working. And the other is proof of residency in Italy, either a signed rental agreement or a deed to a house that you own. As I mentioned, each consulate has their own list of requirements, but I will now address the 2 major requirements of the ERV. Having independent, substantial, and steady private autonomous financial means without working, and having an address to live in Italy. The financial requirement for the ERV. A main requirement for the ERV is that you have steady and sufficient autonomous income without having to work in Italy. With this visa, you cannot work in Italy for the first 5 years. You can't be hired by an Italian or Italian company. You can't set up your own practice or brick and mortar business within Italy. You can, of course, have outside of Italy means of self-employment income, but this will most often not be considered by the Italian Consulate as part of the monthly autonomous income requirement. You need to have a set amount of monthly autonomous income, which is defined in detail by your Italian Consulate. It excludes income from a subordinate job and almost always excludes income from self-employment. Again, each consulate has their own list of requirements for different visa types, and these variances are most evident in the requirements for the Elective Residence Visa. Types of acceptable monthly autonomous income include, but are not limited to, Social Security, pensions, dividends, annuities, and other retirement income, trust funds, rental income from owned properties, and some consulates accept income from stable entrepreneurial, economic, and commercial activities as part of the monthly minimum requirement. Others do not include that on their list of monthly autonomous income, but they may consider it as support to the applicant's financial position. But just what are the exact monetary requirements for the monthly autonomous income? Some consulates provide a figure for this, and some do not. At the date of this video, the Los Angeles requirement is US $3,375.58 per month, minimum requirement, while Boston notes a minimum requirement of US $3,800 per month. Married couples generally have to meet an amount in excess of the per-person figure, but they generally do not have to meet twice the figure. And add an additional 5% for each dependent minor. Basically, the Italian Consulate wants to see a monthly income meeting the requirement, to know that you have the financial means to support yourself and you do not have to rely on the Italian government, or take a job away from an Italian citizen or resident. If you have savings but not a monthly income, you could consider setting up an annuity or other financial instrument that pays you a monthly stipend. Other financial sources and holdings that do not count as the monthly autonomous income but can support the applicant's financial position are balances from bank accounts, 401ks, brokerage, Roth IRA, and other investment accounts. I need to stress here that income derived from subordinate work, employment by a company, will not be considered as autonomous financial means. This is where most people get tripped up. For example, if you work for Patagonia and you can work from home, from anywhere in the world, the income from that job is not autonomous. It is subordinate, and it will not be considered as part of the monthly autonomous income requirement. The reason being is that with subordinate work, you can be fired at any time. The exact wording and requirements for the independent financial means and monthly autonomous income are different for each consulate office. For instance, the Los Angeles Consulate states, this monthly income has to be generated by steady and secure sources, such as Social Security, state pension, private company pension, monthly payments generated by house, apartment rentals. The Chicago Consulate defines it as documented and detailed guarantee of substantial and steady economic resources deriving from private income, pension or annuity, properties, stable economic and commercial activities, or other sources. The phrase stable economic and commercial activities is used by several consulate offices, so I'm not sure what that means or if it is a bit of a possibility for business owners. The address requirement. You will need a signed lease or rental contract or a deed to a property you own in Italy. Both must be complete and registered with the Agenzia delle Entrate in Italy. This is Italy's tax and revenue agency. If you buy a house, your notaio will register the deed, and if you sign a rental contract, your landlord will register the contract. Please know, you must have this finalized and submit the supporting documentation with your application. The consulate will not consider Airbnb or hotel reservations for this requirement. Please see our uber helpful YouTube video, How to Buy a House in Italy, at our House Finders Northern Italy channel. Other ERV requirements that may vary from consulate to consulate: FBI background checks, birth certificates, proof of health insurance to cover you in Italy, tax returns, one-way flight reservation. Some offices ask for this one-way ticket with the application. Others say do not book your flight until you get your visa. Appointments. For all visas, getting an appointment at your Italian consulate, the first thing to do. Once you have made up your mind to apply for a long-term visa, the absolute first thing to do is to make an appointment with the Italian consulate that serves your area. In order to submit your application and paperwork, you have to have an appointment. And many offices only have appointment times available 6 months or more out. Please know, you will not be able to make an appointment with any office that does not serve your area. The consulate asks for proof of current residence to verify this. If you live in New Orleans, you can't make an appointment with or submit your application to the New York office. Most consulates require that you come to the main office in person to submit your application and paperwork. Some consulates have satellite offices for people who live far from the main office that serves their area. But here you also need to make an appointment. At the satellite office, an agent will check your paperwork and stamp it if complete. Then you mail your documents to the main office. Even though some offices only have appointments available 6 months or more out, it is still very important to start your application and your paperwork as early as possible because you will need documents that take some time to obtain. For example, you may need an FBI background check or a signed lease or insurance coverage, etc., etc. Make sure your application and all of your paperwork is completed and in perfect order before you go to your appointment. If your documents are not complete, the agent may reject your submission and you have to start the whole process again. More on completing the application in a few. Many main offices offer the online Prenota Me system for making your visa appointment. You will need to create an account to use this system. Once you log in, it will show you a calendar of months with available appointment days. Again, you may have to search a few months out to find the first available appointment. If you want to get an earlier appointment than those that are available on the regular Pre-Note to Me calendar, you can check the system every day for appointments that are made available for the next day due to cancellations. Please know there are dozens, if not hundreds of people trying to get these cancellation openings, and it is a bit of a game to be successful. The cancellation openings are made available at a certain time each day. For example, in Los Angeles, they are available at 3 p.m. For the best chances of success, using Los Angeles as an example, log in 20 minutes before 3 and queue up. Go as far as you can up to the page before you enter the availability screen. The second that the clock hits 3 o'clock, go into that screen, and if there is an availability, click on it as fast as you can. If there are more than one availabilities, don't pick the first or the last one of the day, as everyone is picking those. Click on one in the middle of the day. If you don't succeed, and you probably won't for quite some time, do it every day. You will get faster at it, and you should eventually prevail. If you already have an appointment and you want to change it to an earlier or later appointment, you must first cancel your existing appointment. The Pre-Note to Me system will not allow you to make a new appointment if you already have an existing one. When the consulate is finished reviewing your application, they will contact you. To get your documents back, hopefully with your visa, you can choose to either have the consulate office mail or courier them back to you. For this, you need to submit a self-addressed stamp envelope with your application, or you can choose to return to the office and pick them up. Please know, you must submit your passport with your application, and the consulate could have it for up to 90 days. Not a copy of your passport, but your actual passport. Understanding, completing, and submitting your visa application. The visa requirements and application you need can be found on the Italian Consulate website that serves your area. The more you read, understand, and follow these requirements, the more successful you will be with your visa submission. The long-term visa application can be downloaded from the website. The application from the different offices may be formatted a bit differently, but all of the long-term visas use this basic application. The application is fairly simple to complete, probably one of the simplest forms you will ever encounter for moving to and living in Italy. It is important to start your application and your paperwork as early as possible because there will be documents that you need that take some time to obtain. Make sure all of your paperwork is completed and in order before you go to your appointment. If your documents are not complete, the agent may reject your submission and you have to start the whole process again. Although the requirements and documentation needed are clearly stated on the consulate website, the agent may ask for additional documentation at the appointment. Usually, they will provide an email for you to submit such additional requests, and you don't have to return to the office. Preparing your documents. We highly recommend that you print clearly on the application. Type letters or other lengthy information on your computer and print it out. Don't handwrite. Include, in this order, a cover letter stating the type of long-term visa you are applying for, the reason for going to or moving to Italy, your length of stay, the city or town where you will live, your family members, and any other relevant info. Assemble pages in the order that the consulate lists them, using the same wording that the consulate uses. After you have gathered all of your documents and requirements and copies, make a table of contents. Very important. Create a table of contents with beginning page numbers of each document or section. Make 2 copies of your entire package. Keep one in a safe place and keep one to provide to officials in Italy if needed. When you arrive in Italy, you will need to apply for and obtain your permesso di soggiorno. You may need some or all of your visa documentation for this process. Please see our uber helpful YouTube videos at our House Finders Northern Italy channel, How to Move to Italy, and the Italian Permesso di Soggiorno. Appointment day. Don't be late. In fact, arrive early so you can find parking and have enough time to walk to the building and find the correct office. When you get up to the window with the agent, start with a smile and a buongiorno. Before you go, listen to and practice saying buongiorno, buongiorno, buongiorno. It is the only Italian word you will need to know for your appointment. Doing this will make a big difference. Trust us. Have your documents neat and orderly and in order. No need for notebooks or binders. A manila envelope will do. Pull the documents out of the manila envelope and hand them to the agent. You don't have to explain them right away. Let the agent go through them and ask the question. Answer questions plainly and truthfully. Don't make excuses. If you forget something or did not do something correctly, offer to furnish it by mail immediately. Don't question the agent. If they ask for something that is not listed on the consulate website, and they probably will, say you can get it to them quickly by email or other method. Saying, "But I thought," or "I was told," or "the website said," is not going to go down well. Be confident. Dress nicely. Look like a person who can support themselves autonomously while living in Italy. After you arrive in Italy, your long-term visa isn't the only permission you'll need to live in Italy. After you enter the country, you have 8 days to apply for a residence permit from the Italian government. This permit is called the Permesso di Soggiorno. The length of time this document remains valid depends on the type of visa you have. For more information about Italian long-term visas, living in Italy, moving to Italy, buying a house in Italy, as well as highlights and day trips of stunning Italian towns and villages, visit our YouTube channel at House Finders Northern Italy and visit our website, www.housefindersnorthernitaly.com. Thanks for watching.